Hey there, my mind is still blown and still reeling from my, or I should say from our meeting with my new coach yesterday. So many great new ideas, but the big idea that I got, the biggest idea that I got is that I need to fire myself and I need to surround myself with a team. Josie and I were talking about this. We got some huge ideas from that meeting. One of the things that we got out of that was $1 million idea. And here's the secret. Well, first, before I say that, let me share this with you. Josie and I were talking about some of the concerns that we have about this whole new thing that we're getting into. And it's really not a new thing. It's really interesting. I'm going to share that with you in just a second too. But it's not really a new thing. It's a recirculation of the old. And that's why we never have to, we should never despise where God puts us. There's sometimes God will put you in a situation you're like, I have no idea why I'm here. It doesn't make any sense to me. But later on, it might be 10 years later, 20 years, maybe 6 months later, it'll just make sense. So one of the conversations that we had this morning was about my time, because this new idea is big. It's big. It's bigger than me. And so Josie's concern was, me spending a lot more time now with this whole new business concept and this taking it to, basically we're gonna triple or quadruple our sales. And so doesn't that sound like it would take more time? Obviously it does. I remember years ago when I first started in real estate, I was about 8 months in the business, and I hired a Mike Ferry coach, and she was on the phone with me one time and she was saying, Knolly, we need to take your production to over 100 deals a year. And I think at the time I was comfortably, I was like 8 months in the business, so that year I was slated to do like I don't know, make 50 something deals or 60 deals, something like that. And so I couldn't fathom the concept of taking it to like 100 to 150 deals, because my biggest pushback on that was, well, isn't that going to take a lot more of my time? And she chuckled and she just laughed a little. She said, actually, it's going to take less of your time eventually, And so I said, well, how's that possible? So she had me read the book by Michael Gerber called The EMyth. You might have already read it, where Michael Gerber goes through the whole concept of McDonald's and some of the other big franchises and how they do so much more in less time, right? And the whole concept is really from I to we to they, just to kind of shortcut it for you. When you first start a business, it's I do it. It's you doing everything. And then when you get further in your business, it's we do it. You've got a team, and your whole team is doing everything together. But then your business at some point moves to they do it. And that's when you have what we call a seventh level, what Gary Keller calls a seventh level business, where you have a team of people that are handling everything. So I've got a quiz question for you. How am I going to quadruple my production and work less, or work the same hours that I'm currently working? How are you going to quadruple your business and work the exact same hours? How are you going to do it? Let me hear you. You guys are good. I like it. Leverage. You got it. You hit it on the head. Gary Keller, my mentor, he teaches that in your business, you only will ever have two problems, ever. You either don't have enough leads or you don't have enough leverage. There's no other problems. So for the person that doesn't have enough leads, that's where you're scrambling and you're like, hey, I just don't have enough business. But when you've got more business than you can handle, guess what you need? Leverage. And leverage is always going to be people, systems, and tools. We call it PST. People is who will do it. Systems is how will they do it. And tools is what will they do it with. So whenever you're going to take your business to another trajectory, another level, it's all about PST. It's all about getting people into your business, into your operation to help you get there. So what I'm going to do, the big epiphany that I had, again, like I said, is that I need to fire myself. And as I was waking up this morning and the Holy Spirit was impressing and speaking to me, the big idea that he gave me was, which was kind of like a joke, I jokingly sometimes say that God is a jokester, because he always has a few laughs on me and at my expense, which I really appreciate. We wink we high-five each other all the time on that. 4 years ago, I had put together this big idea, and I felt like it was spirit-led. Have you ever felt like something is spirit-led, and you put all this stuff, you time and energy into it, you put this idea together, and then it just flops or it doesn't get off the ground, and you're like, well, man, did I miss God? Is it, you may not have missed God, but what you might have missed is the opportunity, the timing. What you might have missed is the timing. So sometimes God will have you put your plans together ahead of time and then have you put them on the shelf. In other words, you put the plan together, but it's not time to execute just yet. Okay, so you got to be sensitive to those things. Well, 4 years ago, I had put together this big thing. I hired a big team, not a big team, but I hired a small team, 4 people. And I was going to take over the real estate market in Austin. I was number 7 in the city out of almost 10,000 agents, and I wanted to be number 1, and I had a plan to do it. We're going to take our production to over 400 deals a year, multiple millions of dollars in profit, and so on. And so after I put all this thing together, hired all the printing, hired my team, and did everything, the Lord says, you're not going to do that. And I said, well, yeah, I am going to do it. And he says, no, you're not. I said, yes, I am. And he said, no. I said, well, watch me work. Have you ever argued with God like that? Like, oh yeah, we're going to do this. And then you go out on your own and try to do it? See how that works out for you. Well, I was smart enough to not go out on my own. I listened and I got into where God was pushing me was into teaching. My heart, my passion, my joy, my love. If you couldn't tell already, or you already know, it's teaching. I love to teach. And so I went out on a wing and a prayer, okay? I went out on faith with this whole teaching thing. And I didn't have an idea how I was going to make any income. We were making about $450,000 a year at the time in my real estate business. And I was going to go down to making nothing. I couldn't figure out even how to make $10,000 a year in this new business. But God made a way, as he always does, because I was faithful. Now, 4 years later, I woke up this morning after having this whirlwind meeting with my coach, and God put it on my heart, pull out that business plan that you put together for that big real estate team you were going to start. I said, well, why would I do that? He said, because now it's time to execute that plan, but we're going to execute it with the training business, not the real estate business. And I said, oh, look at you. What a jokester you are, huh? You had me put in all that work, and it wasn't for naught. Now we're going to put it into play. So I pulled it up this morning. I pulled up the spreadsheet. Sure enough, there it was. And almost 4 years ago to the day. And so what I figured out from God's little prank on me is that he had to take me to college. I just spent 4 years in school, and now it's time to get on with what the original plan that he gave me. And so all I did was move a few things around. I typed up a few differences, variances, the different people I was going to have on my team. Now they're just going to go into the different positions on my training team. So anyway, I just wanted to share that with you guys. I'm super excited. I'm super stoked. Like I said before, I've been running on about 20% of my potential, and it's time to take it to my full potential. But I know that I can't do it alone, and what I've got to do is I've got to hire people that are smarter than me. Now, when you do that, you've got to humble yourself. You've got to realize that you don't know it all, right? I know very few things, but those few things that I know them really, really well, right? I'm an expert at those few things. So one of my coaches, Michael Fleming, used to ask me all the time, he said, Knolly, what is the highest and best use of Knolly Williams? And I started thinking about it. I said, the highest and best use of me is getting me up on stage and helping me inspire and motivate people, right? Even though I'm good at a lot of other things, funnel building, I'm good at video editing, I'm good at teaching, I'm good at coaching, I'm good at one-on-one coaching, I'm good at a lot of stuff. But what's my highest and best use, right? So I'm going to kind of put myself back in that role where I'm just sort of like the mascot. I'm going to hire people that are smarter than me. I'm a college dropout. Actually, I was a high school dropout, got my GED, and then dropped out of college. So I'm a double dropout. I've got people coming in to my team that are going to have their PhDs and master degrees and things like this. Some of them are going to be dropouts just like me. It doesn't matter, really. It's the same principle that Jesus implemented when he hired his team. Remember, he hired 12 people to help him in his mission, right? And what they did, one of them wasn't so good, but there was a purpose for that one as well, right? But what they did was they helped him do a lot of the different things that he needed to do. Now, they weren't necessarily smarter than him, but in my case, I'm gonna have to get people that are a little smarter than me, but they're gonna specialize in the areas that I put them over. So I just wanted to give you that little tidbit, a little some information for you guys. I love you. I'm always gonna try to pay it forward and share with you what's working in my business, what's not working, where I excel and where I suck, so that you can live your life to the fullest potential of what God put you on earth to do. God bless. Knolly Williams here, your success coach. Until next episode, stay tuned. Love you, and I'll see you soon.